Welcome in, belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the league podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'm joined by my good pal, Mr. Bernie the Bounty Hunter, a.k.a. Team B.
Yes, Cuban B.
How are you doing today, Bernie?
I'm doing lovely, Michael. How are you?
Doing good. A little stressed. We're finally getting ourselves together here, but I think I'm doing okay. This is the opening week of football. Are you excited about that or what?
I am excited. Now I have even less time to do stuff.
Yeah. All right. We got a jam-packed show for you guys starting off the season here as this is episode 91, a week one preview. And in this show, we are going to go over the primetime slate of games, check in on the player news and practice reports, go over this week's Wingman Fantasy Football League matchups, see who's at the top of the newest and season opening power rankings. We will take a first look at our brand new segment, The Wingman Jam, and we will dive into the mailbag. But before we do that, let's make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingman Assemble! Everyone is here. Let's get into the primetime slates of games. Friendly reminder, of course, this is week one, so there are no bye weeks, so everyone should be ready to go. And we have the season opener on Thursday night as the Baltimore Ravens are traveling to wet Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And our managers had a total of 10 players involved in this game, including Amazing Spidey, myself, had Patrick Mahomes. Already, I feel a rant coming on before the season starts. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Our good friend here, Team B, had Rashee Rice. They took our jobs, had Derrick Henry making his Ravens debut. King George had Zay Flowers and the Kansas City defense, while Lion Eyes has a flock of Ravens with Lamar Jackson and Justin Tucker going, and Waddle Away has the ground stomping, touchdown, scoring Isaiah Pacheco, while Ben's brilliant team has Harrison Butker in his lineup. What do you think about those players in that and those our players lineup so far, Mr. Bernie?
I like it. I didn't hear Xavier Worthy starting, but that's okay. He's a rookie, but everything else, I like it. I like it a lot.
All right. So don't forget this week, guys, instead of having two Monday night games to start the season, they have a game on Friday night this season. So later tonight, there'll be a game in Brazil as the Eagles will take on the Packers in an all-green matchup. And on Sunday night, we have the LA Rams are heading to Detroit to take on the Dominator, Jared Goff at Ford Field.
Yes, Jared Goff, the Dominator. I got a fun fact for you.
You want to do it now or save it for later?
Let's do it now.
Okay.
Fun fact for you. Jared Goff, can you tell me how many games that he will not be in a dome this season?
I know this. All right, I'm pretty close. It's so do you want to say it? I think it's either 14 out of 17 games or inside or 15 out of 17 games.
He will play 3 games not in a dome. That is crazy. He's going to be at San Francisco in 17, at Chicago in 16, and then at Green Bay in week 9. All other games are in a dome. Woo! That is crazy.
This is going to be the year of the Dominator. He's got a chance for an MVP run if they have a nice high seeding.
Oh yeah. He should have yards galore. I might have to buy me a Lions jersey or borrow Reggie's.
And all right, and don't forget, we finish off our prime time games on Monday night as we close the week out with the New York Jets flying their way over to Santa Clara to take on the NFC champion 49ers. And let's see if Aaron Rodgers can get past the third play this year on his Monday night game.
I hope he does, because I don't wish ill on anyone.
Fair enough. All right, now let's get into some player news and practice reports. We have Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel both have signed new contracts. And with all the offseason turmoil in terms of contract extensions, the San Francisco 49ers have brought home all of their star players. They are all under contract and they are ready to go to take on the Jets. Also, Puka Nacua has returned to a full practice and is stated to be good to go for the season opener. Oh, my camera just cut out and it's back in. Sorry, guys, about that. Mike Williams has also returned to practice. This is his first practice of the offseason, and he is expected to make his debut for the Jets on Monday night as well. And in a late injury, Russell Wilson is now listed as questionable this week against, I believe, the Falcons, as he has calf tightness. And I believe that's it. Oh, Jamar Chase has been limited during this week of practice, but he has been on the field, and he is expected to make his debut. Anything else you want to add to those news and notes, or is there something you want to add to the ones that we have stated?
Two things. If Mr. Russell Wilson doesn't play, there is an equally good, decent player behind him in Justin Fields, so I wouldn't worry too much that way, as long as you've got somebody else in your lineup if Russell doesn't go. And if you're starting Russell, it sounds like your draft went south really early. Also, just a little tidbit for all of the diva wide receivers that have been holding out for their money. Alvin Kamara just made a statement saying he's not going to talk contract during the season. He's just going to wait until the offseason. So, good on him for focusing on football.
He's going to keep those middle fingers in his pockets until the end of the season. Then he's going to double flip the bird to the Saints as he heads his way off somewhere else.
But that just means that he is probably going to put up some numbers so he can get some numbers.
All right. All right, guys. So now we're going to get into our Wingman Fantasy Football League matchups.
I want nostalgia. Ready, down. Put.
This week's matchup.
All right, guys. Now let's get into this week's matchups in our Fantasy Football League. We're starting off with Amazing Spidey taking on the Fantastics. Oh, I forgot to mention real quick, all of our games this week are in division games, so we're starting off with very important games right off the bat. So we have Amazing Spidey up against the Fantastics, a team with a very high projected score and a lot of Dolphins, which is very terrifying to me. Our next game is Team B.
Yes, Cuban B.
Up against They Took Our Jobs, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Alex's They Took Our Jobs has the highest projected points of any team this week.
He does. He's got a 100.01 projection. That is his original projection.
I think he's the only one in triple digits, and I believe the Fantastics was about 98 or 99. Our next game is Q-Bird's Rage up against Katie's King George. These guys are pretty evenly matched. On to our next game, Mac Daddy 2's up against Lionized. These guys were both in the same division last year, and it came down to the last game of the year where Mac Daddy 2's got his way in. And our next game on the docket is Red Sox Nation, our 3-time defending champion, up against Nick's Waddle Away.
Many waddled away, waddle, waddle. Many waddled away, waddle, waddle. Many waddled.
Sorry, Alex.
And then we have Ben's Brilliant Team versus Crazy Fish. And I didn't get a good look. What are the projections for these guys? I think they weren't very good.
No, original projections was Ben's Brilliant Team at 91.77 and Crazy Fish at 90.24. So evenly matched. The projected points, though, have shifted a little bit since the Thursday night game has started.
Okay. I believe Ben has the kicker, Butker, and I don't think Crazy Fish has anybody, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
All right, so he's got more players to potentially get points later. All right, with that being said, next time we'll go a little deeper dive into these matchups. It's the first game of the season. No one's got any records, so we're all 0-0. We're just trying to get off to a great start. So with that, let's get on to our next segment here. We're going to take a look at our power rankings.
By the power of Grayskull.
I'm living in it, no one man to have all that power.
Wingman Power Rankings.
All right, we're going to start out here with our power rankings. If you look at the screen here, starting out the season, we have King George is rated the highest team going forward. All this means is they are projected to get the most total points with the games remaining, and that is every game since we're just starting the first week. The Fantastics is number 2 in our power rankings. Mac Daddy 2s is number 3. I'm actually surprised here. The first time I looked at it, Amazing Spidey's at 4. They Took Our Jobs is at 5, even though he's the highest projected point scorer for this week. He is 5th in the season-long projected points. Line Eyes is 6th. Waddle Away is in 7th. Red Sox Nation is down in 8th. And if you recall, Team B is 9th, and last year the player who was in 9th place always had the most points that week, Bernie. So that's good news for you.
That is good news.
Ben's Brilliant Team is in 10th, while Cubert's Rage is raging in 11th, and Crazy Fish is projected to have the least amount of total points projected, that is, for the rest of the season. With that being said, can you let us in on what the projected win-loss record is going to be, or the projected standings? Do you have that in front of you?
I do have that in front of me. Now, let's see here. We have Lion Eyes at the top at 11-3. Fantastics at 10-4, finishing up the standings, or the second place, tied with King George at 10-4, tied with They Took Our Jobs at 10-4.
Oh, so we got that means we must have a lot of low win teams if we have this many teams with double-digit projection victories.
Yes, and then we have Waddle Away at the 5 spot at 9-5. Then we have Mac Daddy 2s at 8-6. Red Sox Nation and Amazing Spidey, that's 7-8, 7-7. Position 7, position 8, both
Gotcha.
both with the 7-7 record. And then the sub 500 teams, Ben's Brilliant Team will start that off at 5-9. And then Cubert's Rage and Team B will be 3-11. And then rounding up with the F grade from Yahoo, Crazy Fish will win 1 game and lose 13 games.
So I'm more just a memory, not to bring up any bad thing. Did you get projected for 1 win last year or 0 wins?
Ooh, I don't even remember, but it was an F. So probably
I think it was 0.
Yeah, it might have been.
It
might have been 1, but it was bad. So
all right. So we have a couple teams down low. They have you at a 3-win team.
Yep.
And I liked your draft, actually. I didn't think I liked it until we went through that on the draft day special, and I kind of went down like, I like that pick. I like that pick. I like that pick.
Yahoo
we'll
graded it as Rashi Rice was a stretch pick. I picked him way too early, they said. And then because I waited and got quarterbacks towards the end of the draft, they didn't really like that too much. So,
well, those things are automated, right? Obviously. Yeah. So they probably said that because Rashi Rice's ADP was so much lower. As we said before, his ADP is going to be completely off the board because it's baked in with the chance that the expectation early in the year that he was going to be early in the offseason, that he was going to miss games, if not the season.
Exactly.
So, speaking of, I think that's Rashi Rice, just has another 18-yard play. Sorry about that, guys. A little distracted with the game on in the corner here.
Also,
all right, so
Hollywood Brown is not playing in this first game, it doesn't look like.
Right. So very good. Yeah, all right. Now, so that we're going to get into a very brand new segment. It's going to evolve as we go. This is the first time running through. This whole show is going to evolve all year long. So we're going to kind of play by ear and try and expand on our ideas here. And if they don't work, we'll change them or amend them. But this is the first start of our very first segment called The Wingman Jam.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Wingman Jam with Bernie the Bounty Hunter and Amazing Spidey. Boom shakalaka. Said this is an ever-evolving segment. So basically, like Wingman, like a NBA Jam, we're going to pick 2-on-2. We're each going to make 2 picks. But of course, we're playing against each other here. So it's kind of like a pick 'em. We're going to do 1 fantasy related over-under / type of pick and 1 NFL type of pick, either a spread or an over-under, give or take, stuff like that. And it'll evolve, and Bernie's going to keep track of the score for us, and we'll figure it out. Maybe every 4 weeks we'll do a little payoff of who's winning and kind of reset, so it's not like you're not dominating all year long. Maybe we'll do it quarters throughout the year.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you the option if you want to do pick number 1 and 4 or 2 and 3. It's a little snake draft here. In the picks you're going to take.
I'll do 2 and 3 since I've never picked first ever.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so I'm going to make the first pick here, and I'm going to start off with a fantasy football over under. And the reason this one caught my attention is I was a little surprised, although it's not, doesn't, it makes some sense, is that Mac Daddy 2s is going to start with Caleb Williams in game 1, the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. He's putting him right into his lineup, and he is projected to score 18.61 points. That's a pretty good projection. I'm still deciding if I'm going to go over under here.
Okay.
And then of course Bernie's going to get a chance to pick as well. But I get the first pick on the prop that I'm bringing up here. So Caleb Williams, man, 18.61.
18.61. And I see why he started him. He has Deshaun Watson and Bo Nix on his team. So I'm assuming that Deshaun Watson was his first quarterback off the board, and then Caleb was probably the second quarterback off the board. So I can see him starting Caleb. And what do you got there? What do you got, over or under?
They're playing Tennessee. I'm not sure if it's at Tennessee or Chicago. Maybe if you have that, you can give me that. If not, no big deal.
I do not.
So I think I'm going to go under. This is tough because I like Caleb Williams, and I'll give you a couple reasons why. Maybe I'll give you the reasons after. So you're going to go over or under, and then I'll expound on why before I give you a hint what you might want to do.
I'm all about the Bears this season. I got hooked on the Hard Knocks like I do every year, and I'm all about that team. So I'm going to go over on the 18.
All right, we got our first clash. That's good. That's good. We're going to have our first clash here. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to go under, although it's not confident. I'm going to go under for one of two things. There was a stat I heard today, and I don't know if it was number 1 overall picks, if it was their first start, or number 1 overall picks who start in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the same thing, but not necessarily.
Okay.
But anyway, number 1 overall pick quarterbacks in their last 15 games are 0-14-1. So I'm not expecting them to win, which doesn't necessarily impact fantasy points, I understand. They're going up against the Tennessee Titans, who have revamped their secondary. L'Jarius Sneed is going to be on the field, shutting down at least one of his 3 receivers. Keenan Allen is a slightly banged up. It's going to be a Dunze, which is good news for Team B.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think a Dunze is enough to carry points for Caleb Williams to crack that 19, 20 points. So I'm going to go under a little unconfidently, but I have to pick one. And so that's why I'm going to go under. What's your reasons for going over? Just the Bears hype?
The Bears hype. Or
anything more?
Home game. Caleb Williams hype. Apparently he is ice cold, hard as nails. I think that he's going to throw at least 3 touchdowns in this game.
Woo! Yep.
3 passing TDs. He's going to scramble. So he's going to get a couple yards off with his feet. I have that hope for Caleb, and I think it's going to be a good day. So that's really my reasoning behind it. It really, the Bears running game is not horrid, but there's no superstar. There's no Derrick Henry. There's no Pacheco. There's not that bruiser on their team that's just going to get the ball. It's going to be Caleb.
You've convinced me, but I'm going to lock it in. Can you keep track of these picks for us, or make sure so we can keep our record here, obviously?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So you got the next game here, the next prop bet here. What say you?
Let's do a spread bet.
Okay.
Are you go with that?
Oh, whatever.
Okay.
It's your pick.
So we're going to go off of the ESPN bet site. And we are going to do the Arizona Cardinals at Buffalo, and that is a -6.5 on the Buffalo.
Ooh, I feel like, unless I was misinformed, I thought I heard that was at 3 points early, between 3 and 4, depending on the time of day. Now that's 6.
Yeah.
Go ahead, make your call. You make your pick there, and then I'll go next.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to take the Cardinals at +6.5 on that. I think that this might be a very close game, and I would not be surprised if Arizona wins this game. I just don't have faith in Buffalo at the moment.
I think until we see it, I agree with you completely. So this one we're gonna match up here. Okay. I would have maybe taken it at 4 points, but at 6 points, I feel like, could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
That's why I don't bet. I feel like this is a no-brainer here to try and take the 6 points here.
Yep, and it's an early Buffalo home game, so it's not going to be ice cold outside. And Kyler Murray he's got some weapons. So, Trey McBride might surprise everybody this year.
Trey McBride of Frankenstein, my first drop. Let's do it.
It's alive! It's alive!
All right, that's for Trey McBride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
All right, so you get your next pick. Now you've already done your NFL one. Now it's time for a fantasy, pick here. What's your fantasy related pick here?
Ooh, okay. Let's see here. You know what? Let's pick a quarterback that might start on the Fantastics. So the Fantastics,
My opponent this week.
yeah, your
Ugh.
opponent this week. The Fantastics has a really good team. He has CJ Stroud starting, and CJ is projected to get 21.46 points. But on his bench, he's got a guy we talked about at the beginning of the show, the Dominator. He's got Jared Goff
Ooh.
on his bench at 19.67. So they are, less than 2 points off of each other. And I think that we should pick who's going to end up at the end of the day with the higher point, Goff or CJ Stroud.
Is the 2 points close enough just to do a straight pick 'em here, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's an even enough matchup.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and lean towards Detroit's golden boy, Jared Goff. So I think
Who are the Texans playing this week? I don't have it in front of me.
Oh man, he doesn't have any information.
Oh, the Colts. They're playing the Colts.
So
Stroud last year had his 2 best games of the season, both against the Colts.
He did, and I think that's probably why that projected number is a little bit high. But the Colts are not the same old Colts from last year. So
okay, all right. Oh, that's tougher too. Now that I realize they're playing the Colts, that makes that tough. So you took Goff, you said?
Yeah, Goff will have the higher point total at the end of the day, higher fantasy point total at the end of the day.
I want to take Goff, but it's so close, and I can't match you on every pick. Or we'll just have this. We'll be tied.
Okay. That's okay though. It's the first round of this, so it's okay. You go with what you think is really going to happen.
All right, I forget. Is Goff like Cousins, where he's not a good primetime player? It's a Sunday night game.
Goff, in my opinion, is a very, very underrated player. I am a huge Matt Stafford fan, and I think Goff is the next best thing that the Lions could have gotten to Stafford. So I'm not a hater on either one of those guys, and I do love CJ Stroud. He had an amazing year last year, so I'm not going to take anything away from him. I just think that it's such a close matchup there. It could go either way, but I'm gonna lean toward Goff and his dome play.
All right, for selfish reasons here, I think I'm going to take Stroud, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I'm playing against Fantastics.
Mm-hmm.
If we both say Goff, and he switches to Goff, and Goff does better, I feel like we just sabotage myself. So,
would you have
if we
to
put both one of each? It's going to make him think a little bit harder.
Would you have to
which one to go?
Recuse yourself from this pick since you're playing him?
No.
Okay.
Listen, we're putting ourselves out of this year. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
All right, we're already different. I'm going Goff.
Okay.
I'm going Goff. I couldn't help it. I can't help it.
That's what you really believe, though, because I know you're a Stroud fan. I know you're and I know you're on Houston this year. So
yeah, I'm gonna go Goff.
Okay.
We're gonna make Fantastics think about it.
There we go. I like it. All
right, so we're tied on your picks. I apologize for that. We do have one difference so far.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, now on to my next pick 'em of the Wingman Jam. This one's gonna be NFL related, and this, again, in case you are unaware, the majority of our players in our league live in Florida or are from Florida. Mr. Bernie is in the ATL, so he's got a double perspective there, and a lot of our guys are in South Florida. Some go to the games as Fantastics. Now, as he mentioned on the draft day special, has season tickets. So we're going to keep this one in Florida with a Jacksonville at Miami. And the over-under is 48.5, a whopping 48.5. And this makes all the sense in the world. I am going to actually go with the under. This seems weird, but that point spread is just a little too high to just assume we're going to take the over here. It's potentially going to rain. Tua and Lawrence both are not good in weather, mostly cold. Trevor Lawrence cannot handle the ball when it's wet. He fumbles every other snap, which might make Miami score more points quickly, but I don't think Jacksonville can keep up their end of the bargain if it is raining. I'm just making up reasons, but I'm going to say under here because that point total is a little too high for me to be confidently on the over. 48.5, I go under.
Yes, I hear you talking yourself into that. That is what you were doing right there. So yeah, I do live in the Atlanta area now. But I am a South Florida boy. I grew up there and spent most of my time rooting for the Miami Dolphins. And I can't bet the under on this because I can't have them stop scoring. So it's one of those things where I'm going to be sitting in front of my TV and I'm going to be rooting for them to score. So even if Miami has to score all 49 points, this will hit the over.
Well, I hope it's on turnovers and then just Mostert touchdowns because I'm playing against Achane and Tyreek Hill. I am terrified. I am going to be 0-1 for the 4th straight year. This is very upsetting.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Fantastics also has Dolphin players, and now he's got part of this Wingman Jam face off.
Yeah, this okay. All right. So that was our very first installment of the Wingman Jam. It's going to evolve. We're going to figure out what works best. We each make our 2 picks, and then we're going to pick the other side of it when we do these types of picks. Later on, we actually might just make a 2-man teams and see which 2-man team can outscore the other 2-man team. It'll evolve, so every week's not the same. But with that being said, that is the end of the Wingman Jam. On to our next segment, and it is we're going to get into the mailbag.
You've got mail.
You've got mail.
Oh, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Mr. Postman.
Mailbag! All right, this one comes in. Actually, it was a return to center. This one's from Amazing Spidey. I got it right back here. This one comes in from me, and it says, so what's the deal with the Cuban B drop for Team B? I guess without being too rude, the insinuations that maybe you are Cuban B?
Unfortunately, I am not Cuban. I was born in the Caribbean, though, but not in Cuba.
So, like any person in their age that we are, we'll keep that private for now. Half Baked is a nostalgic movie and a lot of quotable
Cult
lines.
classic.
And when he changed his name to Team B, I believe it was middle of last year or early last year, the drop Cuban B just came to mind. And it's for one, it's just like a nostalgic line.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got half of his team name in it. Instead of Team B, it's Cuban B. So it's pretty close.
Oh, yeah.
So that's it. Nothing ethnic about it or anything. It's just a good drop from a fan favorite movie, and it's has half of his team name in it.
There you go. I love it. I the moment I heard it, I said, yes, that is every time you say my name, I want that sound bite right after it. And also,
Nice.
before we end the mailbag, do you have another message coming in the mailbag?
Not that I'm aware of. Do you have something?
No. I just wanted to say that the mailbag song that we hear is my favorite out of all of the song drops so far.
Okay.
So I just wanted
Wanted
to say great job on that.
Appreciate
one. Yeah.
that. Oh, by the way, if you do want to get any of your anything read from our mailbag, just leave a comment on our YouTube channel or any comment. Up long run, is that Derrick Henry? Or I don't know, it might be Isaiah Likely. That's a big boy just scored for the Ravens.
It's likely.
Likely. Okay. I didn't know if Henry had the same number or not. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Long touchdown for Jackson. Good job, Lion Eyes. You got a big score right there late on Thursday night. All right. Sorry about that. So yeah, if you want to get into our mailbag, just leave a comment on our YouTube channel. That's at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube or on any of our wingmanfantasyfootball.com pages. You can leave, there's comments sections on all of our pages. Leave a comment there or on our message board, on our league or our YouTube. We'll find it and we will read it on our next mailbag. All right, we are moving along quite quickly here, so I am going to do a tip and trick. Tips and tricks.
Or quirks for jerks.
All right, this is our first Thursday night game is finishing up last night, and our friendly reminder, and this includes our Friday night game that's coming in later today. A friendly reminder, if you're going to put these guys in your starting lineup, even if they're your stud running back or stud wide receiver, or even if they're your worst wide receiver that you're planning on starting, more importantly, put him into your running back / wide receiver slot. Leave those flex positions open as long as possible. You never know who's going to get hurt, and you want the chance to change out a wide receiver for a running back instead of having to find your 5th wide receiver to take up for like Jamar Chase if he's not going to play at the last minute. If you would have had someone in that wide receiver spot and Jamar Chase in your flex spot, you could use your 3rd running back instead of your 4th receiver to use that flex spot. So keep that in mind when it comes to these Thursday night games. And in this case, Friday game, keep filling up from your main positions first, leaving your flex open as long as possible so you have all the flexibility to fill a competitive starting lineup.
All right, so let me understand this. So you're saying if all of my players are playing on Sunday, then all of my 1 o'clock players should fill my positional slots before my flex spots. Save the 4 o'clock spots or the 8 o'clock spot for my flex spots.
If you're going to be that attentive, then for sure that gives you the most flexibility. If you're just going to set it on at 10 a.m. and let it go, that's then fine. But if you want the most flexibility and the most chance to have the best corrections, then yes, even that's the case. Correct.
Okay, perfect.
All right, guys. I think that's about it for today. I'm going to put you on the spot here because we're moving along nicely here. Do you have anyone that you're like looking at? Do you have any questionable starts or sits that are on your team? I know, like, you're a big Bears fan. You have a Dunze. I don't know if he's in your lineup yet or not.
He is not, and I was thinking about it. So the only questionable thing that I really had was sitting on the waiver wire was not starting Kirk Cousins and starting Geno Smith. So I picked up Taysom Hill. You know, I just picked him up because I never really get him anytime, and he's got that double tag. I probably won't use him, but I was thinking about let me just drop Taysom and pick up Geno Smith. Geno is playing for a contract. He is on his team, so he's established. He's not first year on a team. And I just the projected points are so close. I think they're less than 2 points off. So it's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go just off of that projected points. I want to start Cousins because I drafted him because I believe that he is going to make Drake London better. He's going to make Bijan better. He's going to make Pitts better if Pitts plays. He's going to make that whole offense better because he's just not careless. He thinks about what he's going to do before he does it. So I'm going to keep Cousins in, but I was all morning thinking, oh, maybe I should draft or pick up Geno and put Geno in. So that was my dilemma today. How about you?
So for me, I was thinking about it. I worked late and I got home after the start of the game, which made it even trickier. And the rain delay, I actually looked, I was like, oh, it's starting 20 minutes later, but they already had the players locked in. I was kind of disappointed that because I was thinking about sitting Mahomes for Kyler Murray.
Ooh, yes.
But the problem, the one reason why I didn't is because one, it's Mahomes in general. Yeah. But my receivers are my weakest part of my team, similar to last year. Yep. And last year worked out okay, so I'm not too concerned about it. So I have Travis Kelce as my wide receiver 1. I know he's a tight end, but a wide receiver 1. And I was like, well, if I don't have confidence in Mahomes, then I shouldn't have confidence in Kelce. And I didn't really have someone I could put in for Kelce.
Yeah, I see that. Shakir isn't a good substitute for Kelce, but Shakir might be the guy in Buffalo that gets those targets. So you weren't completely out of somebody, but I don't think I would.
If I didn't have Kelce, if I just had a different person in that spot, I think I would have sat Mahomes tonight because of the rain potentially and the defense they're playing against. And put Murray in and gone for it. But the fact that I didn't really have I had to sub out 2 guys for it to make sense.
Yeah.
If, like I said, if I think Kelsey's going to be good enough to play, then I got to stick with Mahomes. There's no point in splitting it up.
But
as it turns out, so far it looks like that's my instincts were potentially right. But we'll see how this ends up here.
Yeah, I think you made the right choice. But even Kyler Murray, coming into this season, I think that going with the established. I'm all about, putting in the players that you drafted in the positions you drafted, unless there was an injury, unless that, stick to what you know, because it's week 1 and we don't know anything yet. This is the hardest week to do pick'ems. This is the hardest week to do anything because we're basically basing it off of last year and the minimal preseason for the starters. So,
right.
you know, it's a tough one. And so I think you did the right thing. And your reasoning is sound.
All right. All right, guys. With that being said, I think we're going to wrap this one up today. Don't forget, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube Music. If you want to find any of our video feeds, go to our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube or head over to wingmanentertainment.net/podcasts. And go ahead, if you're going on that YouTube channel, hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff so you can be alerted right away when our new content comes on out. So with that being said, guys, may your glass be full, your mug stay frosty.
Keep your lineup strong and your drinks even stronger.
All right, guys, we will see you next time.